everyone. Good afternoon. It's just 12 o'clock now, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to today's Money Talk Tuesday. Today's topic will be on senior fraud and scam prevention with our host, Angela DeLeon from People's United Bank. Before I toss it over to Angela, I'm going to go ahead and go over some housekeeping. And my name is Christine Callahan, and I am the business manager in the Office of Economic Empowerment. So for the agenda, I'm going to go over about the Office of Economic Empowerment, disclosures, housekeeping, and introduce Angela. So just a little bit about the Office of Economic Empowerment. It's a department within the Office of the Treasurer and Receiver General of Massachusetts, tasked with supporting, advocating, and facilitating policies that empower all Massachusetts residents. Our programs serve women, families, high school students, veterans, and seniors. Our priorities include closing the wage gap, increasing access to financial education, improving college affordability, and investing in STEM careers and education. Just a disclosure for everyone, this is a Zoom webinar and will be recorded. The recording will be uploaded onto a public website for future use. This will also be live streamed on the Office of Economic Empowerment's Facebook page, and any information shared throughout the question functions will remain anonymous, but please note, however, that the chat record is subject to public record laws and is as such not anonymous. So just a little housekeeping. So this is a webinar, not a meeting, so you will not be able to see the participants. The host will be able to answer questions either in the chat feature or live throughout the presentation. You can use, as a participant, you can use the chat feature to communicate with myself and the panelists, and Q&A will be available throughout the webinar poll. And at the end, we will also have an exit poll just to kind of see what you liked about the webinar today. And also, the Office of Economic Empowerment has a website called My Financial Life MA, and on the website, there is a tab on scam and fraud prevention. So we will drop that in the chat, but you can definitely go online, and there are some modules after the webinar that you can complete to continue to gain knowledge about scam and fraud prevention. And also, I want to let you know, feel free to grab a pen and pencil and take some notes throughout the webinar, and we will use the chat function to drop any links that Angela talks about or anything. And thank you all for taking the time to join us today. In 2 weeks, on August 25th, we will be having another Money Talk Tuesday webinar on investing in the age of COVID-19. And this will be presented by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. And before I pass it over to Angela, we are going to launch a quick poll for the audience. So if you could all take a moment and respond to the poll, we'd greatly appreciate that. We'll take another 15 seconds for the poll to be answered. All right, if we could share the results with everyone of the poll. Okay, so have you ever received any specific requests from strangers for money or any personal information such as your social security number, passwords, or bank account information over the telephone or email? Please select all that apply. So Angela, just so you know, for the audience, 25% said, yes, I have received a suspicious request for money from strangers over the telephone or email. 38% have received a specific request for personal information from a stranger over the telephone or email, and 38% have not received it. So that is the poll to kind of gauge where the audience is at. So without further ado, I will introduce Angela DeLeon, the Senior Community Relations Specialist from People's United Bank.
Thank you, Christine. Good afternoon. I'm Angela DeLeon, a crime prevention specialist with People's United Bank. Along with many other things, I am also a member of the Hampshire County Sheriff's Department in Massachusetts. As you can see, I've been doing this type of work for many, many years. Now, as a senior myself, I certainly understand firsthand how you all are feeling during this unprecedented and unsettling COVID-19 pandemic. The recent demonstrations, the violence, the social unrest, the recent storm last week, and state quarantine restrictions, along with the threat of a resurgence of this novel virus in our area, has put us all on edge. I don't know about you, but even with my background, I'm frightened. But we are the quiet warriors who maintain a stoic exterior as not to bring any further burdens to our families. You know, we all wish for a miracle these days, and something I wish for, some form of normalcy. Possibly going to the Cape and making a big pot of clam chowder for the kids, or cracking into a gigantic lobster on the shore sounds so great. Things are surely different this year. We have been asked to remain in our homes as much as possible. At our age, we are most susceptible to getting the virus. Along with that, we are now a captive audience for scamsters due to the fact that we are sheltering in place in our homes. Many older adults live on fixed incomes. Some of us, as myself, are still working. Some older adults have accumulated more wealth, but whether we work, have money, don't have money, we older Americans receive some type of funds each month. Due to this fact, we are the age group of choice of scam artists. They are well aware that due to the present circumstances, many of us are isolated and lonely. The scam artists or con artists who try to gain your confidence are trying to engage you in conversation, feed on your fears, and ultimately get into your pockets. They have set their sights on us. As I said before, we are a captive audience for them. So today we're going to try to arm you with the weapon of awareness. We at People's United Bank and the Massachusetts Office of Economic Empowerment want to educate you and keep you aware of what type of scams typically are affecting older adults during this time. Awareness is your weapon. So let's begin to learn about some of the scams that are targeting us during this time of true uncertainty. Stimulus check scams. Many of you have received stimulus checks from the government and are looking forward to the possibility of another. The original check was either directly deposited to your account, mailed, or was sent in the form of a prepaid debit card in an envelope from the Money Network Cardholder Services. And unfortunately, a lot of people thought that was a scam and threw it in the garbage. Millions of people just didn't receive a check because they were not entitled under the government guidelines. Fraudsters picked up on this opportunity. They posed as government workers or bankers and are contacting folks asking for information about the check. Please keep in mind, your bank or the IRS will never ask for your personal information or threaten your benefits by phone, email, or text. If you have questions regarding your stimulus check, now this is when you get your pen and pencil out, your pen and paper rather, call IRS at 1-800-919-9835 or contact the IRS at irs.gov. The deadline to contact them is October 15th. Government agencies will not call, text, or email you. They use U.S. mail. Also, the bad guys can rig your caller ID to look like an official call. So beware. This is called spoofing. Next slide. Charity scams. At times like this, we seniors open our hearts and our wallets to help those in need. Don't let anyone rush you into a donation unless you know and have researched the organization. Get tips on donating at ftc.gov/charity. And that reminds me, in case a family member or someone you know is in need of funds to keep them going during this time, remember, unless you can afford to willfully give the money as a gift without chances of a repayment, then seriously think about it. But if you can't afford to live without that money, then you have to say no. You have to take care of yourselves first. It's called tough love. Next slide, please. Grandparent scams. Many of you have heard of the grandparent scam. I recently read in one of the local newspapers that a couple was just scammed out of $7,500 with a typical grandparent scam. And that's, your grandchild was stopped at the border, they were on a road trip with other friends, and there were drugs in the car, and so forth. The bad guys have come up with many variations of this old scam during this pandemic. They are contacting older adults and telling them that someone they love is in a hospital with the virus and have been hurt in a demonstration or are in another country and need funds for their health or travel. One of the newest variations, which was just brought to me by a member of the New York City PD, was that one of your relatives was in a traffic accident which involved a pregnant woman and is in need of immediate funds due to this tragedy. The common denominator for this scam is that they tell you, don't tell anyone about this. My advice is tell someone immediately. Immediately contact the subject person or a relative or close friend and tell them that these bad guys, who are very believable, these con artists, are out to get you. And con stands for confidence. They try to gain your confidence in order to get into your pocket. They are very good at what they do. They're trained in the art of persuasion. Don't let them do this to you. This is a scam. They are playing on your heartstrings. Hang up. The longer you communicate with one of these bad individuals, the easier it is for them to get into your pocket. Now let's talk about contact tracing. Contact tracing is a public health issue. It is an old infectious disease control strategy. This is nothing new, okay? It is now the process of identifying and monitoring persons who may have come in contact with COVID-19 infected person as a means of controlling the spread of this highly communicable disease. The goal is to interrupt the spread of the virus. This scam has surfaced due to the fact that the contact tracing is the new buzzword during this period of the pandemic. So beware. Due to the fact that contact tracing is still in the infant stages with this virus and in the process of being perfected, scam artists are jumping on the contact tracing bandwagon. They are contacting people stating that they have been in contact with someone who has tested positive for COVID-19. And it is recommended that you self-isolate and click on a link that will give you more information. Now listen, clicking on that link or continuing the conversation can easily give the scammers access to your personal and financial information. So delete, 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 or simply hang up the phone and call immediately. Again, be rude. We were not raised to be rude, but with these people, you must be rude. A reminder, there are legitimate contact tracers being hired by the state and the government. This is ramping up. Legitimate contact tracers will never ask you for your personal financial information, social security number, or your immigration status, or reveal the number of the infected person. They will also have legitimate They will also have legitimate government identification. Contact tracing is an important element in the road to our recovery from COVID-19. Next, online shopping scams. People have reported to lose a total of $421 million in online shopping scams since 2015. At the beginning of the pandemic crisis, people were feverishly, I'm sure you all know this, ordering online supplies such as masks, toilet paper, hand sanitizers, and gloves. In April and May of this year, many people reported to the FTC that they never got what they ordered. When asked about their orders, the scammers said that due to the pandemic, the orders were delayed due to mail, customs, or manufacturing delays. And then they totally stopped responding. Face masks were the #1 item that was not shipped. When you do online ordering, use a credit card, not a debit card. And the difference between a credit card and a debit card is, a credit card is buy today, pay tomorrow. A debit card is buy today, pay today. If you are charged for an order you didn't get, your credit card company can dispute the charges. Check out the seller before you buy. Type into the search engine the name of the company with the words like scam, complaint, or review. Keep copies of the product description, price receipt guarantees, and emails between you and the seller included messages about delays. Now we're going to talk about phishing scams. And I don't mean phishing with an F. You know, the kind that you use the worm and the hook? It is phishing, Phishing. This is especially geared to our folks who are on the computer or on other types of devices. Phishing is when you get emails, texts, or calls that may seem legitimate, but really are from crooks. They want to trick you into giving out your personal information like passwords or your Medicare number. They are out to steal your money or identity. Here are some phishing red flags. You don't have an account with the company contacting you. Your name isn't on the message. You are told that you must confirm personal information, or there are typos and poor grammar on the message. Those are red flags. Don't click on links or pop-ups in the emails or texts that you didn't expect. If you do, these bad guys can easily gain access to your private information. Don't fall for it. Instead, search, reach out to the company through a secure website or phone number you are sure is real. A secure website will have an icon next to the web address that looks like a lock. Now, I think this one is really interesting. It's romance scams. Especially now, as many of us are feeling a bit lonely, the bad guys are using these romance or sweetheart scams as a way to play on your heartstrings and steal your hard-earned money. No matter how old you are, we are still seeking the kindness and companionship of another person. Beware, this is one of the fastest growing scams today. People are claiming to be this loving person who will love and care for you for the rest of your life, and actually they're not. They are talking to you from an internet cafe in a foreign land, laughing about how they are fooling you. They are creeps who are looking to steal your money due to your present loneliness and vulnerability. Again, hang up, be rude, and delete, delete, delete. The longer you communicate with these people, the easier it is for them to get into your pocket. Let's talk about Social Security scams. The other night I was having my dinner and I received a call from a person claiming to be Officer Amanda Burns. who informed me that my Social Security number had been compromised in South Texas and that I had to press number 1 on my phone and I could speak to her supervisor, who was Sergeant Prescott, who gave me the details, who would give me the details. This is a scam. Hang up the phone immediately. Don't be curious and press on any number. Beware. Now let's talk about investment scams. Before you make any new investments, remember the high potential for fraud is right now. Beware of new investment companies claiming to have new products to prevent COVID-19 or cure it. Right now, there are none. Also, with investment rates at an all-time low, beware of anyone offering you high interest rates. Before you act, think, ask, and again, delay. As our partners in the AARP Fraud Network tell you, don't let these fraudsters put you under the ether. Always remember, the safest place for your money is in the bank. It is physically secure, and each account is federally insured up to $250,000. When you deposit your money in the bank, you get the comfort of knowing that your funds are secure and insured by the government. You do not have the same level of protection when your money is outside of the banking system. Just another reminder, and this I thought about the other night that I wanted to share with you. Never give out your Social Security number, password, account number, or PIN number to anyone you are not sure of. And speaking of PIN numbers, never use a PIN number that can easily be associated with you. For instance, your birth date, your address, the last 4 digits of your Social Security number, or 1234. If you have this, change it immediately. And if anyone wants to get into your bank accounts, having this type of a PIN number makes it easy for someone. So always trust your gut. It's gotten us this far so far. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Okay, let's get on to the next slide. Pet scams. Being home a lot these days, and we sure are, we feel we now have a time to train a puppy and love a puppy. They look so tempting and they are so cute and cuddly looking online. It seems like a precious little puppy would help alleviate some of the loneliness. Well, again, the scamsters are at work pulling on your heartstrings with the online pictures of these furry little creatures. Just remember, never send money for a pet that you haven't been able to pet in person. Scammers take advantage of people during times of stress, fear, and uncertainty. Always be aware of, beware of price gouging on the price of puppies today, as there is a scarcity of puppies in today's pet market. Buy a pet from a local reputable breeder or go to the local animal shelter and get a rescue. I did. You may think you rescued them, but they actually rescued you. Let's talk about census scams. The national headcount period is upon us. It is important that we all pay attention to the census. The Census Bureau will be contacting all Americans in a variety of ways, including phone calls, letters, and even legitimate census workers will come to your home. It is important that you get your census information into the government so that they can give out the states the funding they need and deserve. Some of the funds are for senior programs that we are entitled to and need. If you have not sent in your census paperwork by mail or email, a legitimate census worker may come to your home. All legitimate census workers will carry a photo ID badge. Now listen, with a U.S. Department of Commerce watermark and an expiration date on it. Many will carry their supplies in a U.S. Census bag. Only open the door if you are sure they are legitimate census workers. If you're unsure, call the census telephone number. Let me give you that number. It's 1-844-330-2020 before opening your door to them. You know, if they have to stand outside for a while, let them stand outside. As part of the census, you will be asked for some personal information. This is a perfect vehicle for ID thieves to pose as census workers and lure you into providing personal information to make you a victim of ID theft. So please be vigilant and listen closely to this information. The legitimate census worker will first contact you by mail. Now scammers are taking mail scams high tech. They are sending postcards with QR codes and asking recipients to scan the code with their smartphone in order to access the census web page. When the code is scanned, it loads malware into your recipient's devices. How to tell if this is a scam? The return address is from another place other than Jefferson, Indiana, where all official census forms are mailed from, according to census.gov. Legitimate census takers may call you on the phone. If you are uncomfortable with the phone call, hang up and call the census number. Again, it is 1-844-330-2020. Accumulation of census information will end September 30th, 2020 this year. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about some other things that are not on the computer, but I want to talk about the seeds that are being sent to you in the mail. Now, some people are reporting they have received unsolicited packages of seeds that might be an invasive plant species. So be careful if you get seeds in the mail, okay, that you did not ask for. Officials said they are sent by mail and might have Chinese writing on them. Do not plant these seeds. Do not open the packet and throw them in the garbage or in the toilet. Put the package in a Ziploc bag and send the seeds to, and I'm going to give you this information, send the seeds to USPAPHIS PPQ. Attention, Cindy, STUEFER dash Howell, POWELL, at 1131 Southwest Winding Road, Topeka, Kansas, 66615. Again, let me remind you, do not plant these seeds. They could be invasive plant species. Do not open the packet, throw it in the garbage or in the toilet. Put it in a Ziploc bag and send the seeds to the address I just gave you. I have something else to talk to you about today too. Do not mail cash in a card and send it off in the mail. You know how we send a birthday card and put a couple of dollars in it, put it in the mailbox and away it goes to a friend or a family? If you send a check, use a permanent pen that cannot be erased. Do not use the pull-down large mail blue boxes on the street. Do not put your outgoing mail in your mailbox with a little red flag up alerting the postman there is mail in your mailbox. You may not be only alerting the postman to that. What is happening right now with the blue pull-down boxes is that in the middle of the dark night, the bad guys are phishing in the mailboxes, and this is phishing with an F, using double-sided tape on the boxes with a string and pulling up mail from them. This allows them to sift through the mail and pick what they can use. Now, many of the new street mailboxes are being retrofitted with slots, so this cannot happen. So take a look. When you're walking down the street and you see one of those mailboxes, look and you'll see a lot of them have slots now instead of that, what I call the big mouth opening, that you could actually put a package in there. So those are a thing of the past. Tax time. Tax time was just here. The IRS will never call you. They use U.S. mail to contact you if you owe money. There is another scam which really shook me up. This is just a shocker. The scammers are contacting folks, telling them that they have proof that they have been looking at pornographic sites, and that if you don't send them money or gift cards, they're going to tell your family and friends and shame your good name. Remember, if someone asks you to send gift cards or for payment, beware. Okay, Christine, I'm going to turn this over to you now.
Thanks, Angela. That was awesome. A lot of informative and helpful information. Definitely learned a lot. So this would be a great time if any of the participants want to share any experiences, if they have been scammed before, or if they have any questions for Angela. So if you want, you can feel free to drop them in the Q&A or the chat. Well, Angela, while people are maybe typing in some different questions, could you talk to the audience about what you think you've seen with the impact of COVID-19 and what has been like the most common scam that you're knowledgeable about, that you've seen going on?
Well, one of the scams that I saw actually in my own building was the pet scam. A woman wanted to buy a puppy for her daughter as a gift. She went online, saw an adorable picture of a puppy, sent $400 for the puppy, and then realized that it was a scam. And she talked to me about it. I just felt so sorry for her. Finally, she lost the $400 because, you know, sometimes it's very difficult because these scamsters are out of the country for anyone to get back the money because she sent money. She went to a breeder and got her daughter a nice little dog, but she did lose $400. So that's one of them. The other scam that you're seeing is romance scams. People are on the computer now, and these scamsters are showing pictures of themselves, and they look like gorgeous human beings, and they're not who they say they are. They are just basically looking to get into your pockets and get money from you and telling you real sob stories so that you will send the money. So you have to beware. You just, you know, as I said, your best protection is awareness.
Thank you for sharing that. So I don't think we haven't gotten any questions or anything in the chat. Before we wrap up today, is there anything else you'd like to share with the group, Angela?
No, not really. I think we've covered quite a bit of it. I think they have a lot to absorb, but just be aware. Be aware of your circumstances. Be aware of where you are and who you're talking to today. And I don't mean to scare you. I want you to sleep like babies tonight because you're armed with the weapon of awareness. You know, if you know this is out there and it is happening, the chances are slim to none that it could happen to you.
Well,
Thank you, Christine.
thank you so much, Angela. Before we wrap up, we're going to launch just an exit poll. So if you're still on, if you could just complete that. And while that poll goes up, I wanted to thank you again, Angela, so much for sharing all of your tips and advice to continue to be aware about the unfortunate scams that are going on. And we really appreciate all of your expertise and insight that you gave to our audience today. So thank you again for everything. We really appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome, Christine. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you all to our attendees. I hope you're staying cool today in the hot weather, and I hope you and your families are staying well. So thank you all again. We'll leave the poll up for another minute or so, but we really appreciate you all participating, and make sure to check back on August 25th on our Money Talk Tuesday for investing in the age of COVID-19. And thank you all again. And thanks so much, Angela, for everything.